I don't really consider myself that, but at the same time, I do wish that there was more unity and cooperation between everybody who has been colonized and especially suffered under racism and stuff that African and the United States. I wish there was more unity, but at the same time, I'm not like going out of my way to try to unite everybody.
Right, right. Yeah. We can always, I mean, like that's like the We Are the World Michael Jackson tour thing. Unfortunately, like we live in different parts of the globe, so we think differently. Politically, we think differently as far as relationships. You got a lot of countries like Burkina Faso where they still do child marriages and uh genital mutilation. But that's their culture. They see that as no
Yeah,
issue. But in the Western
yeah,
over here hemisphere, we see that as like torture or wrong. So what I'm
yeah,
saying is
yeah,
based off those differences, those outlooks on life, it'd be hard for unity unless we can, accept one way or the other. It's gonna be hard because we see that
yeah,
as savage and they see that as nature, natural.
yeah, yeah. And another thing is that we just have our experience with certain other groups of people are not exactly the same. So while we might have like a little bit more skepticism about other people and a little more caution, they might not feel the same. Like they may be looking more for like acceptance and approval. And but like on our side, we're like, you need to be a little more careful. you know, don't just don't just be so quick to trust some other people.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna go live on later too. You got these fake black millionaire gurus that's gonna teach you how to be a millionaire too. If you just listen to their podcast or their little video, that pisses me off, man.
No.
I know, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, it's Nana.
Hello.
Oh, God, my bad. Amazon came.
Yeah,
Give me
I'm
one
still
second.
on.
They dropped off a package. 1 second. Yeah, my fault. You still there?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, the black millionaire gurus be killing me. You got Anton Daniels, you got the Saint, and a whole bunch of guys, and I don't believe none of them are actually millionaires, just fakers. It don't take
Yeah.
that
That.
long to figure out what you do for a living, bro.
Yeah. That's unfamiliar to me. I'm not familiar with some of those people you're talking about.
Good, good, good. Yeah, just black grifters. Now look, let me ask you this.
Hmm.
So are you? I'm sure you're aware of what Pan-Africanism is, right?
Yeah. Well, I know of it through people like Dr. Umar. I kind of got an idea of what it is, not exactly how it works, but I kind of got an idea of what it is. Like sometimes you have an idea of what something is supposed to be, but like in practice, it might be a whole different thing.
Right, because I'm gonna tell you right now, before we dive into Tariq, I'm gonna tell you right now, people got their own definition. Because when you deal with
Hmm.
Burkina Faso, Pan-Africanism to them is linking up with local, I mean not local, but regional countries. So like
Yeah.
Pan-Africanism is for them to link up with Guinea,
Yeah.
Mali.
Yeah.
That's Pan-Africanism to them, not America, not Jamaica. Like that's not how they see Pan-Africanism.
Hmm.
So everybody got their own little ideology, but in America, that wasn't our definition either. You talk about the early so-called Pan-Africans like Martin Robinson Delaney. He that wasn't his view. Like his view was
Yeah.
getting away from white supremacists and going into Africa because he thought
Yeah.
it was
You might
better.
have gone. Yeah.
Forget now. This is almost 100 years before Garvey. These folks did
Oh,
not
okay.
know that Africa was being colonized. Okay, so
Yeah.
go ahead. So these were
Yeah.
Black Americans who were so going through slavery here, right? Slavery, like
Hmm.
literal slavery, and they got their freedom. They were called free blacks. They got their freedom one way or another, right? They got their
Yeah.
freedom. So they're like, hey, anywhere must be better than here, but they're not aware
Hmm.
of colonization in Africa. Like they didn't know that the grass is not greener over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they went over there, it's like, oh, the white man owns this too. They came back over
Hmm.
here and fought for independence.
I know.
Okay, so
No.
Marcus Garvey came later. Marcus Garvey, I don't know what he thought Pan-Africanism was, but it was completely different than anything we ever heard of before him and after him. Because
Hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong, but Marcus Garvey, he believed that he was going to be the president of Africa. All these 54 countries, somehow he just going to, I guess, like, because Africa, for the most part, they take over government by a coup, like violence, guns, on they don't get voted
Yeah.
in. So it's like, so what was
Yeah.
Garfield? What was Garfield planning? Come rounding up a bunch of us over here and dethroning African governments by the gun?
Yeah, I didn't know that about him, but now that you mentioned it, makes sense because all the pictures that I've seen of him had him kind of dressed up like he was like
Yeah.
like a I don't know what style of clothes that is,
Like
but
a Captain Crunch,
uh
like a Captain Crunch
like yeah,
general.
like a captain or something, yeah,
Yeah,
or a general, yeah, that might be the better
right.
word, yeah. So now that you mentioned it, that I'm like, okay, I can see that now, but yeah, I don't know. And where would yeah again though, where would you even go? That's one thing. If because I'm also of the opinion that I don't have a whole lot of loyalty. I probably shouldn't say that too loud, but who knows me listening. I don't have a whole lot of loyalty to the United States, to America. But so at the same time, if I was to like, if they were to say, look, we'll give y'all some land and let y'all leave, of course, give you reparations and like go do your own thing in your own land in Africa and have your own space, but ain't nobody gonna bother you no more. And part of me would be like, I would like to take that deal, but at the same time, I would feel like it's also like a setup. So it's like it's hard to accept even that idea of going off to Africa somewhere because I'm like any place where they allow you to go, it must be something wrong with it.
Well, that was the original plan of the ACS, the American Colonization Society, when they were shipping free blacks to Liberia during the
Hmm.
mid 1800s, but they
Yeah.
didn't tell those free blacks that they owned, they had their own colony in Liberia. So it
Hmm.
wasn't African ran. It was ran by the
Yeah.
ACS, the white men,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So that's the
So
thing
yeah,
though.
see,
But
you gotta be
but
some kind of trick.
but as long as white folks in power, man, no matter where you go in this world, you don't know if it's safe because how do you know the president or right now in Nigeria, there's a rumor that their president is a CIA puppet. Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I
so
wouldn't, I wouldn't, I wouldn't doubt it.
okay, so that mean, but what I'm saying is, what country is safe? Like, what as a white man running the world right now, what African, what black country is safe from that type of influence? How do you know? You don't know. So you're
I
running
know.
to
So
Ghana, you're running to Burkina Faso, and you don't know any day Ibrahim can become a CIA informant. He can become a sellout, and you'll never know. And now you're in a country
see,
being
here's the thing
ran
about him.
indirectly by
I
America.
don't, yeah, I don't know a lot about him. But my impression of him is that he is not going to ever turn. The only way that anything going to change over there is if they get him up out of there. And I think, hopefully, they don't do that. But I don't know if he'll ever switch up like that. I just think that eventually they're gonna do something. They're gonna do their dirty work just like they did with Muammar Gaddafi and everybody else. They're
Well,
gonna
Muammar
find
Gaddafi a
some
little
reason to
different.
go over there.
He a little different. That dude was always a lion. First of all, he's not black. Let's start right there. He's not sub-Saharan African. He's African by way of Libya, like some old like
Yeah,
Arab African type of guy, North Africa.
yeah,
But he's not African like how we see Africa. He's not black like how we call black.
yeah.
He's an Arab type of African. So now his plans, that's a whole nother ball game. Believe me, I'm gonna do a live on that guy because it's a lot of lies surrounding his agenda. But believe me, that guy who's non-black, okay, did not have a
Hmm.
Wakanda state for black people. He wanted his people to, if he did, he wanted his people to be the rulers or people of authority. He was not going to
Yeah.
step down and say, okay, you darker people of the world can rule me and my family and my generation. That's not how he was stepping down.
I'm just saying that they have a way of getting you up out of there one way or another. That's all I mean. It's like if you got your own country, even if you a president, a king of your own country, they have a way of going in there and getting you out of there. And I'm just using him as an
What
example
about
of
China?
what they did to him.
They can't get Putin or the
They
Iranian
working on it. They
government
trying.
or
They
no, but
trying.
no. What I'm saying is like they've been upset with Chinese president, Iran president,
Hmm.
North Korea's president, and Russia. Like they've been very upset with those guys, but they have not been able to uproot them. Do you know why?
Because they can't find a good enough lie to go in there, a good enough
Nah, nah,
excuse.
they no, they got some lies because China is planning to go invade Taiwan, and American Navy is right now preparing. I mean, bro, that's predicted in 2026. That's public news. You can Google that, right?
I
That's no
mean, yeah,
big secret.
that's gonna happen. But it's like America can't. They can't. They have to always win the battle of public opinion, and they can't find a good enough excuse or a good enough lie in order to get people to get behind their war. Because they can't, like when it came to like Iraq, they had to tell us a big lie about. Unless I'm misremembering, but I think it was like the they were, what did they say? They said on the news they were gassing
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
babies or something
yeah,
like that
yeah.
over
They was
there.
gassing on people. You talking about Saddam
Yeah, see,
Hussein?
they got to come up with a good enough lie to
Yeah, but we
convince
don't know if that's
everybody to get behind the
truthful.
war.
But we don't know unless they tell them themselves. We don't know what's a true or lie because we're not living in Saudi Arabia. So we or Kuwait. So we wouldn't even know. Think about it like that. We wouldn't know because
I know, but
every every citizen in their country, they believe that. Can we agree with this? Most citizens in their own country, they believe their own government is corrupt. The Chinese believe the Chinese government corrupt. The Russians believe their government is corrupt. Iran and North Korea, so far and so forth. Everybody believes their government is corrupt. So when their government spread propaganda, they all be in question about their own country. Like I don't know about that
yeah, I know. I'm sure they
because
all,
governments
they not.
normally be corrupt.
I'm sure they do. But my whole thing is whatever America or whatever they officially say, whatever the official story is, I don't believe it. Now they might have some stuff going on over there for real, but in my
Yeah.
opinion, it's none of my business, you know. And so that's the whole thing with Taiwan and them. That's that's China's thing. That they said that's part of their territory, their land. Well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Then I
Yeah.
don't support that war, and that's the thing. Most people probably feel like that's so far away from us. Why
Now,
should
but
we get
that's
involved?
going to
So they
affect
would
your
have to come up.
no, but that's going to affect your prices because Taiwan has like these, I believe some like micro some chips that they
Yeah, the
produce over there.
microchips.
Yeah, so if China's get hold of that, our electronics going to be sky high. So a laptop that's like $800
Yeah,
going to be 4 grand. You dig? Some shit like that's going to happen, and our
yeah.
phone's going to go
But see, that's
out
not.
throughout the roof.
Yeah, but I would say, but that's not benevolent because America always has to be. They always have to have the position of moral superiority and moral. They have to have a moral high ground. And so, even if it's like economically, yeah, you don't want to lose Taiwan, but that's not America's thing. America always has to have you locked into this mentality that they're the good guys, that they're the heroes, and this is how um, white people in general have seen themselves as if everything that they do around the world, they've always been trying to say that we helped these people, we gave these people that, we gave these people that, this and that. When actually in reality, they were setting people back and stealing credit for stuff that other people did. But at the same time, they got to have in their mind that they did the right thing, not not the economic thing, but the right thing, some kind of moral high ground. They gotta have it. They need it. You know, they have
So
to see themselves as the hero.
so the chat want to know: Are you would you call yourself first gen, second gen, third gen immigrant, or are you trace your lineage back to slavery in this country?
I trace my lineage back to slavery. Now,
Okay,
on
go ahead.
my daddy's side, my great my great grandfather on my daddy's side is Irish, but everybody else was black.
Yeah, but you have a parent that goes back to plantation.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
but I ain't got no like immigrant kind
Yeah.
of family members or nothing like that.
So would you say that your lineage is foundational to the building of this country?
Yeah, I mean, part of slavery. I mean, we slaves built the country. They built
Yeah.
the roads. They built the buildings and all of that.
But you wouldn't call yourself foundational Black American though, right?
I mean, because I have a problem with the term because, or maybe the reason or the purpose behind it. I think, and I think the purpose, the whole, from my perspective of it, is really just trying to attach yourself to America, and I don't feel attached to America. I don't feel any loyalty to this country. My ancestors were not brought here willingly. You know, we might as well be prisoners of war. You
So
know,
okay,
so
with that logic, then why would Jamaicans call themselves Jamaica? Because they were not they didn't come to Jamaica willingly. They didn't go to Haiti willingly. So why would they
I know
call
exactly.
themselves Jamaica? Or so that means that you're also against any Jamaican calling themselves Jamaican, and any Haitian calling themselves Haitian. Because because the same story applies. Like they were not there willingly. They were forced over there, but they're Haitian and they're Jamaican. So like
Well,
why
yeah,
would that change
it's
just
like
with us?
it's the same. It's the same reason why we call African American, even though we're not American. Like we're not like usually
Do
when
you
people
speak
say
English?
American, they think white,
Yeah, I
right?
know. Well,
So
it's more of a culture. Yeah, you're right. It's definitely a culture. It's a white culture that you only know. Like you don't know another country's culture outside of American culture. And just to bring you back, are you familiar with the term? Are you familiar with Booker T. Washington?
yeah,
Okay, he called himself American proudly. Are you familiar? So are you familiar with Frederick Douglass?
yeah,
Okay, so not just them. Almost every black person in the 1800s proudly called themselves American and nothing else because they never been to Africa. Don't forget, they're 200, 300 years removed from chattel slavery. So all they know is that every parent they ever had was in this country. Nobody has a African dialect. Nobody has an African name. Nobody has an African culture. They don't cook African food. Everything about them, all of what they know comes from this country. So when they were actually emancipated and worked out a deal with Abe Lincoln for the amendments 13, 14, 15, 16, uh, they all proudly called themselves American because they said that we fought in the biggest war in this country, which is the Civil War, and we helped.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
Right. So we died, and don't forget that we also built this country. So this country is called America. This is nothing without us, without our contribution. So for us, for our ancestors, damn it, if you do a consensus, um, 80% of them felt 90% felt that way. Like, hey, no, we're American for sure. Like now we go against white supremacy and how we were treated, but make no mistake, we fought, we bled, we're the backbone of this country. They want to call it America, then that's what it is. Then that's how they thought back in those days. I just want to point out,
hmm
always, actually, forever. Like it's a small, tiny fraction of blacks who felt like we're not American, we're something else. It's a tiny, tiny, small fraction.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I feel you. I'm not like if you feel like American, like I don't have any sort of like patriotism and all of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm 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 not feeling it. You know, it's just too much stuff that goes on here. Too much. They don't even want to acknowledge the every time you want to bring up the stuff that goes on in this country, I always want to make it like you dwelling on the past or that you not or they want to talk about their so-called white slavery and all this other stuff they want to distract with. And it's like at some point it's like I'm not in love with a place that don't love me back. And so that's just that's why I don't feel like I want to have any kind of attachment to the place. I'm here, I'm called African American, and I'm not calling myself African American. That's just the title that exists. And I'm
Who?
not really,
Who gave you?
huh?
Because that was not your title. Your title was Negro and Colored.
Yeah, well, I don't know what, I guess, yeah, black, Negro, colored, yeah, but that's
No,
not
no,
what you're going to
not
usually find
not
on the
black,
forums.
not black. Negro and colored.
Well,
That's
Negro
what you
meant
were
black.
called.
That's what they call it. That's what the
No,
the
no,
the new.
no. That's okay. Be careful, because I know a lot about the word Negro, and it don't stem from Latin. It goes all the way back to Greek. So be careful. They were not thinking about a color of a human being. That was no different saying white, black. It was just a last name. It was a last name, right? So because people like to take that and mix it in with this pseudo research and say, hey, now that's all garbage. You have Roman leaders call themselves black, that well, in Negro, call themselves Afrikaners. Had nothing to do with the being of African descent. It's just something they gave. It's a surname they gave themselves for conquership and other for conquering things and other reasons. But it has nothing to do with what folks is using now. Oh, they called you Negro, you're black. That's a lie. Because Latin guys call themselves Negro as a last name, and they clearly were still Roman. They didn't forego their Roman citizenship or nationality. So, gotta be careful with
So
that rabbit hole.
yeah, I was about to say because I know we had ancestors in Spain and Portugal too, and so when they were up there, they were called Negro because they were black, they were dark people. So
So
I mean, I'm not
why
arguing
were
with you. I'm just saying
okay?
that
So why were
that's what they
Romans?
were.
So why were Roman conquerors call themselves taking on a surname Negro or black?
I'm not one of those people who think that all everybody in the past was white that we think was white.
All right, yeah. So you're going somewhere else. All right, so let's move forward to 2025. Okay, so now you said so now what's your opinion on Tariq Nasheed and being the leader of FBA? In what way do you believe he's a leader?
Is just by the fact that he has influence, and that people in general tend to um, follow other people who have influence. I you know uh, the FBA thing. That's his thing. Just like um, Yvette Carnell had ADOS. And when you come up with
So
a
so
term for a
it
movement and people come
is
under that umbrella,
is African American Jesse Jackson thing?
is it what?
Is African American Jesse Jackson thing?
I have no idea if he's the one who came up with that
You
or
know,
not.
no. It's not about coming up. It's not about coming up. Okay. So African American was used in the 1800s by a tiny, small fraction of Black Americans. Tiny, small percentage. Everybody's called Negro and colored. Jesse Jackson reintroduced, just like Tariq and Yvette, everybody you name, Jesse Jackson reintroduced African American as a better alternative to colored and Negro, and it popped in the 80s. Okay, so nobody's ever called African American and no massive numbers before then. So Jesse Jackson reintroduced that word. So according to your logic, he's your leader.
No, because remember I said that Tariq has influence. So by the fact that he
Jesse
has
Jackson don't have
influence,
influence. So Jesse Jackson didn't
no, I
have
don't.
influence. Right, he ran for president. He
I
still had
think
way
yeah,
more
I
influence.
think,
Yeah, way more influence than
but
Tariq Nasheed. Yeah,
but
people didn't
but
look.
when you
There's some black folks who have no idea who Tariq Nasheed is. Everybody knows who Jesse Jackson is. So Jesse Jackson influence and celebrity is way bigger than Tariq Nasheed.
I know, but see, I'm saying I didn't know the connection between him and African American though. So then, if the question is, can I tie African American back to him? No, I can't do that. So even if he may have a lot of influence, if I'm calling myself African American, I don't know who he is. Then no, I'm not.
Or not.
Uh,
But it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't like that's like saying the black man is God according to black. Like that's Elijah Muhammad. So you don't have to know where it came from. The fact is, if people go back further enough, go to etymology and things like that, you're going to run into Elijah Muhammad. He's the reason why we call ourselves black as an identifier, right, of a race of people. This was him. He said the black man was God. You're black, you're not Negro, colored. That was his whole spill. So he also, like Tariq Nasheed, like Yvette, like Jesse Jackson, he said this word black is a better term for those who have lineage going back to American slavery. So, and he had influence. So is he our leader? Because you say you're black. So see, it goes back. See, so that logic falls. If they said it, if they had influence, they're your leader. Because now Elijah Muhammad's your leader, Jesse Jackson your leader, Tariq your leader, and the ACS, some white folks are also your leader because they also was saying something similar. And then I was going to say 50 Cent your leader because we go by your logic again, the influence. 50 Cent got way more influence than Tariq Nasheed on black culture. So he's your leader. DJ Academics got way more influence on black culture than Tariq Nasheed. So he's your leader. So the influence ancient influence can lead you to make decisions, no doubt. But just because you're an influencer doesn't mean you're an actual leader. So that
Right.
narrative is not uh, I don't believe is accurate.
Well, I mean, like I said, from my understanding and knowledge of Tariq Nasheed, he's the one who came up with the term FBA,
But he did.
right? So yeah, okay. So he has that,
Mhm.
and he has influence. So if you were to look at anybody who is identifying as FBA, I mean, it would. I'm not saying that everybody's gonna do everything that he says. Like he's just gonna be like, go do this, and
They
everybody's
can't be
gonna
a
do
leader
it.
then.
I'm just saying, like he has the microphone. He's the one who came up with the term. Then he pretty much defined what that is. So I
Okay.
mean that makes him like a de facto leader. And I'm
Nah,
not
nah. Wait,
really.
wait. For one, so let me catch you up on the culture. For one, we're not even like 100% on that term. Like some of us remixed it, retwisted it, did all type of stuff. So okay, so what he did was fill a void for okay, that's what he did. He filled him and Yvette Carnell Tone Talks, they filled the void. Just like Jesse Jackson did. That's why I keep trying to go back to that, but you're kind of missing the point. It's not that we even liked African American because we didn't like that. We called ourselves black. Okay, I didn't say, hey, that African American over there. Hey, Muhammad Ali is the first of African American. We didn't say that. We said he's the first black man, and this is the first black man. And this is the first black man. That's why they say this is the first black astronaut. They don't say African American astronaut. So like, we really didn't relate to that term, even though it was politically associated with us. Okay, that was not. We said we're black. That black guy, that black woman, black power. Who said African American power? Whoever said that? You said black power.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Panthers, not the African American Panthers. Okay, so I'm trying to get you to understand that. So
Well, I mean, it's nothing that you got to argue with me. Like, it's not like an argument or anything.
nah,
I'm
nah,
just,
nah.
I just,
I'm just helping
it's
you
just like
understand the
I
other
just
side
what
of
I
the
was
fence. That's
looking
all.
at it.
Right, right. So because I understand your position, that's why I heard you out. But now I'm giving you the other way to look at it because you need two sides, right? A quarter or any
Mm-hmm.
coin has two sides. So now you have one way, fine. I'm giving you the other way to look at it. Like even the term African American, like that was what we select on a box, like for employment or some type of benefits or status. But when we talk daily in our lives, we said the black man is God, not the African American man is God. We use black as a self-identifier, even though African American was the political official term, the national term. We didn't really use that. The black woman, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, the Black Panthers, they don't African American Panthers. You got the NAACP, the Negro. You got the even UNIA, Marcus Garvey. It's the universal Negro. It ain't the universal African American. Yeah, bro. Nobody really used that. That was like a political term for nationality, but we accepted it, brother, because we felt it was better than colored and Negro. So
Yeah.
today, Tariq and Yvette, they filled another void. We feel like African American. Well, we always felt like that, but now it's the elephant is is being addressed. The elephant in the room. Hey, we don't really address. We don't really rock with that term because everybody's being called that. And now you got these white folks from South Africa. Now they're African Americans. We like, hey, let's get ahead of the ball.
Yeah.
Let's drop that term. We want something exclusive that nobody on the planet can say there or this other than the people in this country who experienced a unique experience dating back to chattel slavery in America. Only these folks can be called this thing that we say is Foundation Black American or ADOS or American Freedmen, however you want to put it. You could say Spider-Man, whatever it is.
Yeah.
This unique people can only be called this. Nobody with birthright citizenship later or second gen, immigrants, none of that stuff. Like y'all
Yeah.
own thing.
I guess since I had more of a antagonistic sort of view of America, I was preferring to I would like rather identify as ADOS, African descendant of slave. But I mean, I see where you're coming from with the FBA too.
So
That's
okay, so so now I just want to pick your brain. So why are you hell bent on the word African?
I'm not even like hell bent on it. That's just like when if I was to say American descendant of slaves, white people can claim that,
No, you
but
can't.
they would say, oh, they would say, yeah, they would be like, oh, we were slaves. Like white
No,
people
they were
actually they
indentured
say that
servant. No,
stuff. They actually
no,
say that
no,
stuff.
no. Hey, brother, I studied the history of immigration in this country. No, they can't, brother. They were
Yeah, and
indentured
they
servant.
don't even stop. They be like, I know exactly, but that don't stop them. I got into an
No,
argument with them
no,
like a
brother.
guy
That's
last week
because,
about that.
brother. That's because you're in the wrong conversation. You're in the wrong groups. You need to come over here. They don't try that over here. They don't try that with Yvette.
No,
They don't try that with Tariq
I just be
Nasheed.
on I just be on X. You know what I'm saying? I just
Okay,
be like,
yeah, but
and they
I'm
just be
saying,
so.
you're in the wrong spaces, brother. When they try that, they get cooked over here. Because I'm gonna say, who enslaved you? And don't forget, to be enslaved, that means you were sold. Okay, so let's not forget about that. To be an enslaved American enslaved person, that means you or somebody in your family were sold. I got all ears now. Please tell me when
Mhm.
in your history, somebody was sold to a plantation. You got all ears. See, so brother, that debunks that. Show me somebody in your family that was sold, and maybe you got a conversation. But if you can't do that, you were not enslaved. You were a indentured servant, or you were some bum ass Irish person fleeing for your country because of that potato famine, and you came over here. Or the Irish, the Italians, all these German folks that came, these Homestead Act losers.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah,
that don't work over here, bro. We know history over here.
yeah. So, I mean, but you still gonna run into them in like even outside the space. You
But
got to
I
deal
love
with
it.
them,
I
man.
love it. I get to cook them and I get to educate us about folks like that have that
Yeah,
perspective. I love it.
yeah.
It's always a
And
learning
I was,
lesson. Like, we welcome
and
them
I
to
was dealing with
over
them.
here.
I think I was dealing with them, but
So
it's just the
redirect them
thing
over
is
here.
they just keep. Hmm? Well,
Redirect them over here. Like, I would love to have one of those white supremacists over here so I could cook them.
yeah, sometimes you just gotta take a deep breath and just like,
Yeah.
I'm about to just keep on pushing on.
Yeah, no, I would love, brother. I would love to talk to those okay. I would love to talk to the white supremacists with those revisionist perspectives. I would love to educate them correctly in front of a black melanated group. I
Yeah,
would love to do
you know
that.
what they're gonna do then after that? After you deal with the stuff that happened in America, so they're gonna go back to like the Barbary slave trade and this and that. They always they push it back, and it's like yeah, but that ain't got nothing to do with none of us over here,
Yeah,
and they just
exactly.
but they gonna push it back though. The goalpost gonna go all the way back to like 1,000 something years ago.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, no, that bro, trust me, that wouldn't work. That won't work because that would be a separate argument that they could have by themselves. They want to go back to something
Yeah, I
outside
know.
this country, But that we call those straw men. We call that time wasting, babble, white supremacy. I'm white and I say so type stuff.
Yeah, yeah, but like, I got your perspective on FBA.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But we,
I still struggle. I still struggle with all the labels though, because it's we always have to identify something. other than our actual tribes and
Well, you have to,
and stuff
because
like
people
that.
come to this country and they're tagging along was deserving of you. So why would you let that continue to happen? Why would you let people tag on to something that belongs to you?
Yeah,
Like you got to block them, and you block them with language. Like for example, when you have a class action lawsuit, everybody just can't be a part of it. You know, there's barriers to blocking from those uh those things. You got to prove certain things, right? So why would we be any different? Why would we just say, hey, anybody can tag on? And they've been doing that. Look at DEI, white women. Look at affirmative action, white women. No, we're done with that. And they can only do that because you know why? Because they're called minorities. So they're gonna
yeah.
mislabel us minorities. And now
Let's say women and
anybody,
minorities. Yeah,
yes. So you see, identification and language matters. We can't let that keep going on. Can't let folks say I'm a minority, so I get the rights black has to do to black folks in this country who suffer systemic racism and locked out well for 100 something years. You know, they're minorities and so are we. Ah, bro, that con gang got to end.
yeah, yep. I'm with you.
Yeah, that's all we saying. Need language that's exclusive that just applies to us, nobody else. They come. Mm.
What was that? You broke up.
No, no, no. I was letting you go. They come.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Later.
No, no. I was letting you go. Like let you whatever you had to say after that.
Oh no. Yeah, I was good. I was I was pretty much done. I ain't really had nothing left to say.
Yeah, yeah. So let me just end it with this. So yeah, we don't look at Tariq as a leader. We know he's not. I don't have a leader. Nobody tells me what to do, what to believe, what to eat, and what to you know, how to think. What people do because we are a tight knit culture. What we do is we share ideas, right? And we believe the idea is good. We accept it. Like look at slang. Like we all speak slang, and right now, for the first time that I can think of, like, our slang is unified. It's universal. Before it was East Coast slang and Chicago slang is different, and California slang and Atlanta slang. But for the first time, like we're using the same slang. We're all saying cap. We're all saying pause. We're all saying this. Okay.
Yeah, it's
You know
social
what I mean?
media.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So those things for the first time, like we're like being on code without even trying to be. So now what you don't want to do is miss the boat, right? Because I know as we get older, like we kind of be stuck in our ways and we don't want to listen to more innovative ideas. You know, we kind of like, nah, I did this what I thought my whole life, so I'm gonna stay over here. You don't want to do that as long as you're living. You want to adapt. You want to adapt to what's going on in the culture, what's going on within your lineage, and don't be so combative and belligerent. Nah, you're gonna have people who's gonna have great ideas, but that don't mean they're your leader. And you're gonna borrow some ideas, but that don't mean you're your leader. Okay, a leader is Donald Trump, right? He's a leader of America, and he's sitting in a seat as leader. That's a leader, or people that's sitting in leadership seats, that's willingly taking the seat and giving leadership, right? Leading by example.
hmm
Tariq is, he got a sense of humor. Sometimes he can be clownish, funny. That's not everybody's cup of tea. And guess what? He's not trying to be political. See, to be a leader, you got to be political. You got to act like you're that generic fit for everybody. He's not doing that. He's expressing himself whether you like it or not. And those are the attributes of a person who's not a leader. Leaders like to adapt and be liked by everybody, or as much as possible. But yeah, so that's all I had on that, brother.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
me.
I'm
Yeah, like I said,
definitely,
I ain't yeah, I definitely ain't trying to like anybody who identifies as FBA. I definitely nobody by even suggesting that Tariq was like the leader. I'm just saying that's just my perspective on
yeah,
what it looked like.
I
So
understand. But you got to admit, You don't watch his podcast, right?
I mean, I do watch. I used to. I don't watch as much as I used to, but I do watch. Like, I used to, especially I used to enjoy watching the Bucci Bear stuff.
Okay, right.
I'm sorry. I just had to give that shout out because I used to love those episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Ain't no leader gonna do that. Ain't no leader gonna do that. Nah, he's a
So
regular
yeah, I
guy
mean,
like
I
you.
just
He just got influence. He got more influence, more celebrity, just like Mayweather, just like I said, 50 Cent. But that'll make them more of a leader than yourself. Like you're a leader too.
since I was familiar with him, not like personally or nothing, but like him and Yvette Carnell and how they both and I listen to them both, and typically I don't take no sides when they be having their differences. Uh, but I yeah, I see Yvette as a leader. I don't like necessarily look at her as like a leader of
Well, she
ADOS
calls herself
hashtag whatever, but
it. Well, she puts herself in leadership roles.
yeah. So I mean, I guess that's kind of the way I was also looking at Tariq too, because he has like the have a rally or whatever, and so to me that was kind of like a leader. So that was just my perspective on that.
Did you watch NBA basketball?
I don't really watch sports.
Okay,
No.
okay. So there's a star basketball player. His name is Anthony Edwards. He's in the playoffs now. He played for the
Hmm.
Minnesota Timberwolves. All right. The NBA is trying to
Yeah.
make him the face of the league,
Hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
you're trying to make Tariq the face of. But look what he said out of his own mouth. He said, "Yo, I'm not the face of the NBA." He said, "Don't make me that. I don't want to be that." So now look, he got the influence, he got the swag, he got everything you're saying Tariq got. He got that for the NBA.
Yeah.
But you know what he said? Do not
But
make me the face of the NBA. So do the NBA do that anyway, or do they be wise and go find somebody else?
people like you mean what are people's reactions or what is human nature to do, or do you mean like,
Yeah,
well, I don't
I'm
understand
saying
exactly what you
if
mean.
you're trying to build a brand that's successful, you're trying to build a movement
Hmm.
that's successful. And Anthony Edwards is saying, so okay, if you're trying to build a brand around a guy, he's saying don't do that. Then he's
Hmm.
uncooperative. That means that he's not going to go along with the get along, or he's not going to get along with the go along. How do you want to put it? He's not going to cooperate.
Hmm.
So if you got commercials, you got the movie roles for him, he's like, nah, I ain't
Yeah.
showing up. So basically, it won't go anywhere if you're trying to put on somebody who's saying don't put it on me. Like if you got children,
Yeah.
you're gonna leave your inheritance to one kid or the other, and that kid is saying no, not me, and you're relying on that person to take the inheritance and build a legacy and keep it going. Why would you give it to the son that's saying not me?
Yeah.
Like that's just insanity. So Tariq saying I'm not the leader, don't put it on him. And Anthony Edwards saying I'm not the face of the NBA, I don't want to be, go somewhere else. I think wise people should take their advice and go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But listen, brother, last thing, brother Isaac. I know why
Hmm.
people was trying to make Tariq Nasheed the leader is because they feel like he got baggage, right? So they want to attack somebody and they want to tag F all 43 million FBAs to that person. Okay, so they feel like
And
he got baggage, he got a history, so we got to make him the history. We got to make him the leader. So by attacking him, we're attacking the entire lineage. I know that's what they want to do,
yeah, and
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 that's
I
why he's
since I
wise to
know,
say, nah, not on my watch. That's wise.
yeah, and so that's another reason why like I said, I was always hesitant to identify as any like FBA or anything. I feel like there's something that somebody's a leader of, or like I'm always like, well, I don't want to come under that umbrella because if somebody does something, I'm gonna catch. I don't want to have to be answering for something that somebody else did or something that somebody else said. So I'm like, I'm just going to stay over here by myself and just not be attached with none of these labels. I'm not going to claim this. I'm not going to claim that. And that's kind of the way I had always been looking at it and carrying myself. So even though I saw him as a leader, especially de facto, since he had all the influence. He the one who came up with the term. Um, I didn't think he was going to do anything stupid enough to get like everybody under who claims FBA in any kind of trouble. But at the same time, I know that's how things work, and so I'm not going to
Yeah,
identify as
but
any.
he can't. You know why? Because we're not mindless members of a cult, like Kwame in the chat. Like we're not mindless members of a
Hmm.
cult. This ain't the Kool-Aid thing, right? This
Yeah,
ain't religious. Like there's no pledge of allegiance, there's no pledge of loyalty, there's no
right.
all hell Tariq. So even if he tried that, he wouldn't be
Yeah.
successful, brother. He would not be
So
successful.
my experience on social media, and I've been like part of a few, like, let's say, hashtag
Yeah.
groups and movements before,
Hmm.
and I know how people come at you like, oh, look what this person said, or look what this person did, and I'm like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, but they, and so my experience with all of that had me like, nah, FBA seems like another one of those movements, and I'm not gonna identify. I don't need it, I don't need it to be me. So basically, you know,
Yeah, I
that's how I
respect
was
that.
looking at the
And
whole
and and
FBA
that's why I
thing.
say, I don't believe this is an older man thing anyway.
Yeah.
I think we both know that all movements, all ideologies to be successful are ran by the youth. So that's why when the government want to sabotage something, they don't go after the elders, they go after the youth. You dig? So
Hmm.
because they understand that the older people are stuck in their ways, like they're the less likely to change up and adapt a new ideology, right? A new innovation. So, but it's sad though
Yeah.
because we wish that more elders and more elders can be more adaptive, right, with the
Hmm.
culture. But unfortunately, when it comes to our ethnic group, that has not been the case. We are more closed-minded. This would led to Elijah Muhammad. Okay, this would led to Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X uh, clashes. Malcolm
Hmm.
X had more innovative ideas. Elijah
Yeah.
Muhammad was stuck on his his original teaching, right, that he had set
Yeah.
for the doctrine. Malcolm X was able to innovate, add more members, and and even like make it more appealing to the masses.
Yeah.
But Elijah Muhammad was still stuck in his ways because he's like 65, 70. Malcolm X like 20 something years old. That's usually what happens. So like
Yeah.
we just hope um, that a time where most of our elders and elders can get on board with with the wave, so to speak,
Hmm.
rather than being stuck in their own ways and just letting everybody down.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah, that's all. But I'm glad you called. I'm glad I was able to hear you out. Is there anything else you want to add on before we close it out?
No, I'm good. No, I'm good.
All right, well, brother, I appreciate you, man, and I'm gonna re-upload this so you can watch it, later on today. And that's it, man. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and I'm glad we were able to explain our different sides.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad to have the other side of it now.
All right, brother.
All right. Later.
All right, peace. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Yeah. So, chat. I'm going to later on in a few talk about some things I posted in my post. Those topics right there. I'm going to bring up. But yeah, so the brother had a good heart, a good mind. But again, I think they just you get to a certain age, and this is the I guess you could say evolution, the evolutionary effects of it. Like some older men like myself can adapt and get on code, get on board, but it's survival of the fittest or natural. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's more natural selection. It's more natural selection. I think nature selects certain elders in our culture to get on board, help lead, guide the youth, guide. the lineage, and other folks ain't selected, and they just go away like the wind, just blowing dust to just the mist, thin air, and that's unfortunate. And I think that's when we know we're doing something, when we get more elders and elders on code on a recent idea. When we get more elders and elders on code early to a current recent idea, I think that's going to be like the signs. Yep, we're doing it. We're doing it because you can't let a bunch of young dudes guide it, because you know how that works out. Just ask the Black Panthers. That didn't work out very well with them. Yes. Okay, so yeah, so the Black Panthers was a young group. They had a good heart, but without um, older guidance, they were easily influenced, easily infiltrated, easily sabotaged. You dig? It wasn't anywhere where it should have been. Because I got heavy criticism of them, mainly because they're led by little kids. So there's a question from the chat. He says, if FBA is just a lineage, why you can't be an FBA and Pan-Africanist? Brother. No, throw it dirty. Throw it that way. And it said, brother, I think you like. Well, now I don't think. I know you're like insane a little bit. You can FBA is just your identity, brother. If you're gay, you're still FBA. If you're a Pan Africanist, you're still FBA. You can't change what you're born into. I don't know why we gotta keep explaining this thing to tethers, but you can be a Christian, you can be a Republican, conservative, you can be a right wing, you can be a left wing, you can be a all out supporter of the liberals, right? Still FBA. You could be a coon, you FBA. You can be a rapper, you can be a serial thug, you're still FBA. You could be a thought 304, you're FBA. I don't know why we gotta keep explaining that, but it's what you choose to do with your mind is on you. Okay, it's on you. That's personal. You want to be a degenerate, you want to be a scholar, you're still FBA if you were born that way. If your parents brought you to the earth that way as FBA, one of them FBA. So hopefully to answer your question, maybe it didn't because he's a habitual troll, but for others who probably had the same question, hopefully that answer does something for you. DJ X1. Yeah, man. And that's why DJ X1 said he has not been getting notifications. And yo, listen, I went to people I showed it live at channels that I'm subscribed to. And I showed it live. I went to certain folks' channels and you'll see that they had my bell notification X'd out. Yeah, so YouTube X out your notification thing. I showed it on mine. Like channels I rock with, I follow, I stay in tune with. And it wasn't even purposely done. It was like by mistake. I was like, I went to the channel to show a video, and I noticed the bell thing X'd off. I'm like, wow, I never done that. So I shared my screen. Look at this. They got old boy Bell X'd off. Yeah, so YouTube for their reason, they shadow ban us. I think we know the reasons. White supremacy is real, systemic racism is real, and folks, they really hate black people. That's everybody black. But in this country, they got it really in for foundational black Americans more than anybody else, more than any other black, I should say. because we are the only blacks in this country that has a history with these white folks. Just like if you go to Sudan, like the hatred won't be on you as much as it is from the Sudanese people. I'm talking about from the British. If you go to, these other countries of black folks that has a history with certain white folks, whether it's Scottish or UK, France, like Burkina Faso, they got an ugly history with the France. So if you go over there as a foundational Black American, and the French realize that that hatred is not going to be so deep rooted as it would be for somebody that's a Burkina Bay, right? That's just a fact. All right. So any other brother, if you're FBA and you want to believe in pink ponies, bro, that's your prerogative. I'm gonna think you're weird, but that's just my personal singular opinion about you. You can believe whatever you want to believe. You can believe you are a descendant of um I don't know, some African warrior. That's your prerogative. And that you can believe your great grandfather was a descendant of the Masi clan warriors or whoever else, Kunta Kinte, one of these guys out there, Shaka. What's that dude? Shaka. That guy, the Shaka warrior clan. You could believe you're a descendant of that clan, bro. It's all good. I won't be the guy debating you that you're not. As long as you has, as long as you has have shown where you're at today, whether you're FBA or non-FBA, that's all good. What you believe after that is your prerogative, Bobby Brown. All right, we out. Peace.